Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Sunday celebration message. Today is July 19th. I'm Reverend Nancy Clark. Today's daily word is togetherness. I share God's love, peace, and joy. While I treasure many times of quiet and solitude, I also look forward to enjoying the company of family, friends, and members of my faith community. Whether we're working, volunteering, praying, or simply enjoying one another's company, our shared experiences allow me to support people I care about and to feel supported in return. I enjoy and value togetherness throughout every season of my human journey. During times of trial, hardship, or grief, being in the company of friends and families comfort me and keep me strong. Likewise, during times of celebration, being in the company of others multiplies my joy. In times of togetherness, may the love, peace, comfort, and joy of God bless us all. And from Acts 2:44, all who believed were together and had all things in common. What a beautiful day. The sun is shining, the beautiful weather. It's hard to believe that we're in the midst of a pandemic. There's so much concern and precaution taken because nobody wants to contract the virus and come down with the disease. I do want to talk today about the concept of disease, or if you put it this way, dis-ease. We're all worried in the midst of rising heart disease, obesity, addiction, and other various conditions and diseases, but there's some that we don't even think about but are widespread. In this country, and probably throughout the world, it's probably become to pandemic levels. One of the greatest diseases that I'm talking about is that of onliness. And you heard it right, I said onliness, not loneliness. I've been reading Eric Butterworth's incredible book called Spiritual Economics once again, and he explains this disease very well. He said this concept is beautifully symbolized in the Old Testament story of the widow who came to the prophet Elijah in distress. She had been left destitute in the death of her husband. Her creditors were pressing her, and her 2 sons, according to traditional law, were forfeit for her debt. She cried out to Elijah, saying in effect, "My husband is dead and the creditor has come to take my sons." Elijah asked, "What do you have in the house?" She replied, "I have only 1 pot of oil." You see, what he was asking her was, where's your consciousness? What are you thinking about? What are you identifying with? Her reply indicated that, despite the 1 pot of oil, she was centered in the awareness of poverty. She was possessed by fear and thus had cut herself off from the divine flow. She had a pot of oil, but to her it was only 1 pot. It was evidence of substance or possibility, but to her it was symbol of lack. She was plagued with the very common problem of onliness. When we put an only in front of what we have, we are identifying with lack. We're saying it's just not enough. How much money do you earn in your job? What is your net worth? In most cases, you respond, I only earn, I'm only worth. Why the onlys? In other words, regardless of what you have, your thoughts are subtly centered on what you do not have, with the subconscious fear that you do not have enough. It is said that Jesus went forth without scrip or purse. He didn't have anything in terms of assets, but he had faith. He had the awareness of the whole of God's substance present wherever he might be. It may not be necessary for you to go forth without money in your pocket or in the bank, and in our day it would be unwise to do so, but you do need to walk and work from the same level of consciousness and faith as that expressed by Jesus, the same feelings of affluence, the same attunement to the creative flow. Whatever you have in your house, let it not be identified with an only, with not enough. Let what you have in your job, your possessions, your resources be the symbol of the presence of limitless substance, of possibility. To the extent that you can do this, the job will prosper and the assets will increase. Jesus put it very simply, but seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all those things shall be yours as well. Now Elijah instructed the widow to go to her neighbors and borrow additional vessels. This suggests the need to expand the mind to include new faith and vision, new possibilities, to try new insights for size. She needed to get out of the lack consciousness of onliness and focus on what she had, but not focus on it as an only. She needed to open her mind to different possibilities, increase her faith in universal supply. She did borrow additional vessels, which meant she broadened her horizon and her expectations. She poured the oil from 1 pot into the new vessels, and it flowed freely till the last vessel was filled. When there was no more vessels, the oil stopped. In other words, as much as she could conceive and believe, she could achieve. We can only fill our vessel as much up to the top as far as we have. God says, my God supply it. But there is one thing God cannot do. God cannot supply. This is because lack is a state of mind, and the condition cannot be remedied until the state of mind is altered. The one jar of oil to the widow was her lack, due to her feeling of onliness. However, when she expanded her faith through providing additional vessels, lack became a legitimate need, which was instantly and abundantly filled. As I was preparing this message, I realized how many onlys I use day in and day out. I only have this much time. I only have this much to spend. I hear lots of women say, I'm only a stay-at-home mom. I'm only a housewife. One symptom caused by the disease of onliness is ungratefulness. If we attach an only to anything we do possess, it clearly shows our lack of gratitude for what we do have. We're saying, it's just not enough. Another classical example of this principle is the gospel account of Jesus dealing with the 5,000 hungry people. Disciples reported that the only provision they could find at hand was one boy's lunch consisting of 5 loaves and 2 fishes, obviously inadequate to meet the need. Jesus started with what they had. He started with what they had. He took the boy's lunch in his hands, and he looked up to heaven and gave thanks. Remember, this was not reaching up to God, for he clearly taught us that the kingdom of heaven is within you. He was turning away from the lack of appearance, or the appearance of lack, and getting the view from the top. Again, he was not giving thanks for the inadequate lunch. No, he was giving thanks from that elevated level of consciousness, or the presence of abundance that was visually suggested by the loaves and the fishes. There wasn't enough bread, but there was enough substance, for the whole of God's substance is present in his entirety at every point in space. How quickly we forget that. Next, Jesus blessed the available food. He gave thanks. This power of blessing and gratitude is not reserved for the holy places or for specifically ordained persons. Gratitude for what we have, for what we do have, gratitude for what we do have is an act of tremendous power that can be used by anyone. As we are grateful for what we have will increase, and there will always be enough. Paul once gave some advice that has been puzzling to many persons. He said, in all things, give thanks. All things? Is this really possible? Is it practical? Can we be grateful for this COVID virus? Can we be grateful for unemployment? Can we be grateful for unrest in the world and in our society? But notice, Paul does not say for all things give thanks. What Paul says is in all things give thanks. In other words, despite the problems of lack, or even because of them, the need is to get yourself recentered in the awareness of the ever-presence of substance, the power and the presence of possibility. And the most effective way to accomplish this is by thanksgiving. Paul stressed the importance of a grateful heart, not simply an expression of gratitude for things, but a heart that is grateful, full of greatness. In spiritual economics, Eric Butterworth told of a missionary to Africa that related a story of his work with a tribe that was mysteriously poverty-stricken, even though other tribes in the same religion were relatively prosperous. He was curious about this strange phenomenon. He spent years researching all aspects of their culture. He came up with one possibility. In their tribal language, they had no word in which to express gratitude. Perhaps through some quirk of evolution, they had forgotten how to say thank you. He drew no conclusions, but he did ask a very interesting question. Could this loss of spirit of thanksgiving have been responsible for their poverty? It's an interesting and revealing possibility. We might ask the same question of ourselves. Could it be that our own financial problems may be a lack of the loss, even temporarily, of a grateful heart? Could this lack of gratitude be a result of our own dis-ease of onliness? A man was once told by his doctor that he only had 6 months to live, a shocking discovery of an incurable disease. One might expect him to have an emotional collapse, but not this man. He reported to work the next morning as usual. His co-workers heard of the pronouncement and were shocked. They hovered around him, morbidly commiserating with him. Someone asked, "What will you do?" He replied, "I'll do what I've always done. Live with a grateful heart, one day at a time. And he could be grateful for the isness of life. He was grateful for the moment that he had. Actually, this crisis was more than 10 years ago, and the man in question is still very much alive and well, still living one day at a time with a truly grateful heart. It is not necessarily that the diagnosis was an error. Perhaps it is more of a testimony to the healing influence of a controlled life sustained by an attitude of gratitude. The important thing is that these 10 years have been creative years, not just a dreary expectation of a dreary existence in anticipation of doom. One might well say, well, now he at least has something to be grateful for. What did he have 10 years ago? But that is to miss the whole meaning of his demonstration. What his control life has provided is that thanksgiving is not just a reactionary emotion. It is a causative energy. It is an effective key by which anyone can meet life as a powerful conqueror and creator. So how do we eradicate this disease of onliness, which leads to the symptoms of ungratefulness and subsequently even more lack? If you are in great need of increased prosperity in any area of your life, ask yourself, what do you have in your house? And be aware of the answer. This question is asking yourself, where is your consciousness? Then borrow additional vessels, meaning raise your consciousness, widen your horizon of faith, see the possibilities, focus on what you do have and be grateful instead of seeing it as only. Identify yourself with the idea that you are entitled to the boundless support of the universe. Really believe this. It could be that by careful study of the teachings of Jesus and of unity, you are effectively adding vessels by expanding your vision of entitlement to God's substance. But remember, you do not have to get more substance, for all the substance of the universe is present right where you are. Some people, realizing the importance of a grateful heart, begin looking for things for which to be grateful. However, they mistakenly start with the perspective of inadequacy and insufficiency, and thus they simply become more conscious of limitation. The result is, instead of counting their blessings, they count their envies. He is so talented, and she has so many lovely things, or I wish I had a lovely home like they have. As a result of this very subtle process, they develop, paradoxically, ungrateful hearts. To pray for prosperity out of a sense of complaint or discouragement is to effectively compound the problem. You may pray for an improved financial condition, but if you're feeling poor, focusing on onliness, your feeling is the consciousness you will be projecting. The grateful heart draws to itself great things. The ungrateful heart, the discouraged, complaining, covetous level of thought, will draw to itself limited things. Theodore Roosevelt used to say, do what you can with what you have right where you are. So begin now not with subtle resistance for what you do not have, but with what you have. A job, no matter how inadequate, some money, even if you're down to the proverbial last penny. Get the view from the top. Elevate your consciousness. When you look from the top, everything looks smaller as you look down. Remember that, in truth, there is abundance everywhere. So give thanks. This is not that you should give thanks for a job that is unpleasant or a last penny if your supply is totally inadequate. That would be to kid yourself and to be intellectually dishonest. Many people could get confused at this point in the misunderstanding of Paul's statement. Give thanks always for all things. The job is not a symbol of misfortune, and the penny is not a symbol of lack. Both are evident of the activity of spirit manifesting in part. So you give thanks not for these things, but from the awareness that there is always a sufficiency, even in the insufficiency. When we go back to the fish and loaves story, remember, Jesus looked up to the heaven. He saw from a higher consciousness, and then he gave thanks. He saw it already there. He knew the substance was there, the ability was there, the possibility was there. And that moment of gratefulness, he became great and eventually attracted to himself great things. The grateful heart will always attract to itself in one way or another, through human hands or through wonder-working ways, the great things needed to solve the particular situation. It is an outworking that you can stake your life on. George Bernard Shaw once said, God has given us a world that nothing but our own folly keeps us from being a paradise. In other words, we live in a world that is always a potential of affluence. All the substance of the universe, all the wealth that has ever manifested itself or ever will manifest itself in this world is present right now. This is why Jesus said, I have come that they may have life and have it abundantly. Only our lack perception or lack of gratitude heart keeps us from experiencing it. We have the choice to be great or small. When we are grateful, we are great. When we become lax in the expression of gratitude, we become little people with little minds, leading to little consequential lives. The man with 6 months to live was able to live gratefully because he learned to live basically. You talk about that, plan for it, and fret over the years ahead, but basically, you have only one day, and as Carlyle says, you can make it a day, a dance, a dirge, or a life march as you will. It is your day. You are alive in it. You don't need to wonder what the day will bring. It is an unfolding opportunity to express and to grow. You are in the express business for growth. That's what it's all about. Of all people and all ages, no one has more reason to be for Thanksgiving than you do. I encourage you to take a moment right now to engage in the experience of gratitude. Don't turn outward looking about for the things to be grateful for. Remember, it's not an emotional reaction to the blessings you can count. Gratitude is an energy you stir up within that is causal. Resist the temptation to indulge such thoughts as, I would be grateful if I received this promotion and raise in salary. No qualifications, no ifs, no whens. Just feel grateful. Let the spirit of thanksgiving flood your whole being with its healing warmth. According to Plato, as you feel grateful, people become attractive, not only in your beauty and radiance, but in your relationships with people. More important, you release a vital energy that draws to you opportunities, employment, and a secure flow of substance. Everything begins to work in your life in an orderly and creative way. You may be so uplifted in the joy of thanksgiving that your consciousness easily gives way to the activity of blessing. In your gratefulness of heart, you can confer prosperity upon all the many things, experiences, and people whose performance have such a profound influence on your life. Bless the car you drive, or the bus or train you ride. Bless the weather. Bless the traffic. Bless your place of business, your employer, your coworkers. Bless your investments and your cash flow. Bless your family and bless your home. Bless your friends and neighbors. Now, blessing exerts no magic power over these people, conditions, or things. In fact, it doesn't change them at all. It changes you, your thoughts and feelings, and the consciousness you project into this world. Charles Fillmore wrote, God is the source of a mighty stream of substance, and you are a tributary to that stream, a channel of expression. Blessing the substance increases its flow. If your money supply is low or your purse seems empty, take it in your hands and bless it. See it filled with living substance ready to become manifest. As you prepare your meals, bless the food with the thought of spiritual substance. When you dress, bless your garments and realize that you are being constantly clothed with God's substance. The more conscious you become of the presence of a living substance, the more it will be manifest itself for you, and the richer will be for the common good of all. Identify yourself with substance, and you will soon begin to rejoice in the ever-present bounty of God. Keep alive the commitment to view from the top. Keep centered in the feeling of thanksgiving. It is not only to be grateful for loving families and friends, for an affluence of wonderful things, or for divine order and everything that happens in your life. It is so much more that you're grateful from the root of reality that is evidenced by all of these things. Your thanksgiving is more than a response of what is happening around you or to you. It is a celebration of truth which becomes a causal assurance of a continuity of blessings leading towards prosperity for you. And so it is. I'd like to take these thoughts into a meditation for appreciative joy. I'd like you to get comfortable in your seat wherever you are. Take a deep breath in, knowing that as you breathe in, You breathe in God's substance. You breathe in all the possibility of the universe. As you exhale, feel your body relax. Feel your body and mind relax and be in a more peaceful place. As you breathe in, give thanks for the air that you're breathing. Feel that air go through your nostrils, into your lungs. Feel your chest expand, your body expand. Feel grateful for all the oxygen that's being taken to every cell of your body, giving it nourishment, providing it life. Feel gratitude for the air that you breathe, for the oxygen, for all the nutrients, knowing that there is always enough. You can breathe and feel secure that there's always enough air for everyone else to breathe. Feel the abundance. Know that there is beauty everywhere. Know that there is enough of everything in your environment. Let the speaking of Jesus fill every cell of your body. I have come so that they may have life and have it more abundantly. As you identify with this abundant universe, feel the gratitude well up in your heart. This is what a grateful heart feels like. Grateful for not only what we have, but grateful for the possibilities. Grateful for the feeling of being alive, knowing that we are co-creators with God. Feel the joy of abundance. Feel the gratitude of abundance. Feel the gratitude of life itself. For this moment is sacred. This moment has been given to you to love, to have joy, to create. The grateful heart that you're experiencing now becomes a causal effect. It's a causal agent to create whatever you want from the God substance that is ever present, everywhere, wherever you are. I invite you to take this time to bless your existence. Feel the gratitude for being alive. Bless your body. Bless your mind. Bless your spirit, your soul. Bless your inner being, who is all knowledge, all wisdom, all support. Bless your job. Bless your income, knowing as your grateful heart blesses this income, it will increase. And you will always, always have enough. For supply fills every demand for a grateful heart. Bless your friends. Bless your family. Bless all those that are struggling now, struggling with onliness and lack. Bless them and see them filling their vessels. Know that as you are sitting with this grateful heart, as you are experiencing this gratitude, you are adding vessels for which to be filled. And know that the flow of substance will continually fill these vessels until there are no more vessels to fill. So know the more that you are grateful, the more that you expand your faith, your love, your joy, your prosperity, your peace, you are including more vessels to be filled, and your joy will overflow. I invite you to sit for a few minutes in this feeling of gratitude, this feeling of enough, this feeling of truly, truly being blessed by an abundant universe. Know that as you increase your gratefulness, you become great. You can do great things just as Jesus told us. All these things I did, you can do an even greater. Know that your grateful heart is a causative energy. It draws to you all great things, all joy, all prosperity. I invite you to take a few minutes and really feel this feeling throughout your body. Feel it in your heart, in your mind, in your soul. Know that this feeling is the feeling that you want to feel every day, every moment. And you can come back to this feeling at any time. And as you come back to this feeling of gratefulness, your consciousness rises and you're looking from the top. As you see from the top, you can see that all things work for the good. You are truly blessed. You are loved. You are abundant and prosperous. And so it is. I invite you to start to wiggle your toes. Take a deep breath in, grateful for the air and the energy around you. Start moving your body. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back into your space, knowing that you have expanded your vessels. And you will receive the greatness of God. And so it is. Amen.